The global filmmaking landscape is shifting at a staggering pace, and Sony is preparing to execute a monumental strategic maneuver that will redefine the compact cinema market. Without standard public fanfare or an official press event, Sony has quietly registered a brand new camera body with the Chinese Ministry of Industry and Information Technology certification authorities. For seasoned industry insiders and production professionals, the registration code leaked from these regulatory documents sent shockwaves through the community. It officially carries the prefix ILME. Within Sony's engineering nomenclature, this specific designation is reserved exclusively for the prestigious official cinema line. This regulatory milestone transitions the highly anticipated Sony FX3 Mark II out of the realm of speculative message board rumors and firmly establishes it as a tangible, physical production reality slated for imminent release. However, this upcoming product launch is far more complex than a straightforward hardware refresh. The year 2026 presents an incredibly convoluted, highly competitive landscape for imaging manufacturers. Sony cannot simply introduce a minor incremental update, package it in a familiar body, and expect to maintain its market dominance. They are forced to deploy this high-stakes cinema tool at a unique historical moment when their internal product ecosystem is in a state of unprecedented tension. Sony is currently forced to wage a fierce, high-stakes trade war on three distinct operational fronts simultaneously. The most dangerous aspect of this commercial conflict is not originating from external rivals, but rather from within their own engineering departments. Sony's executive planners must execute a delicate balancing act to ensure that the cutting-edge features built into this new body do not completely cannibalize the sales of their existing, highly profitable camera lines. Every single morning, product managers within the Alpha and Cinema divisions confront immense pressure. In the preceding generation, the original Sony FX3 held absolute, uncontested dominion over the compact cinema space. It served as the default industry-standard workforce for run-and-gun documentarians, high-end indie filmmakers, and top-tier solo content creators who required a robust, dependable tool that skipped the complexities of massive camera rigs. Those peaceful, unchallenged years of uncontested market share have vanished. The broader imaging industry has spent the last half-decade reverse engineering Sony's success, and aggressive competitors are actively hunting for the cinema crown. The contemporary imaging battlefield is fiercely contested. Canon has aggressively entered the compact cinema space with significant engineering force, launching the EOS C50 as a direct, uncompromising frontal assault on Sony's market share. The C50 delivers authentic, uncompromised cinema-grade pipelines, internal neutral density filters, and professional input-output ports at the exact retail price point that the original FX3 occupied. Canon has purposely integrated critical production tools that Sony users have spent years begging for, putting intense pressure on the ecosystem. Simultaneously, Nikon has rapidly transformed from a traditional stills-focused company into a legitimate, formidable video powerhouse. Production houses and independent directors are now routinely evaluating the Nikon Z8 in the exact same creative conversations where the FX3 used to be the only option considered. These are no longer minor, niche competitors fighting for crumbs at the edge of the industry. These are massive, highly capable alternatives backed by robust lens selections and exceptional internal processing. Real-world filmmakers and rental houses are actively migrating away from Sony ecosystems and investing heavily in rival platforms. Sony is experiencing a measurable loss of market dominance, and they desperately require a revolutionary, definitive hardware response to stabilize their user base and reassert their legacy. Yet this intense external pressure represents only half of the logistical nightmare. The internal corporate situation at Sony is arguably even more complex and chaotic. Verified supply chain leaks reveal that Sony is currently engineering three distinct flagship camera bodies around the exact same next-generation image sensor and processing platform. These three devices are the upcoming Sony FX3 Mark II, the long-overdue A7S Mark IV, and a highly secretive, premium video-centric camera design for the high-end ZV Creator Series. From a macro corporate financial perspective, this unified sensor strategy is incredibly brilliant. It allows Sony to distribute its astronomical research, development, and fabrication costs across multiple product lines, giving them the agility to bring new products to market before Canon or Nikon can effectively counter them. However, this exact strategy introduces an extraordinary dilemma for the product designers and engineers. They must exercise extreme caution when drawing the precise boundaries of performance, codec selection, and physical features for each unique camera body. If they grant the Sony FX3 Mark II an unrestricted suite of high-end capabilities, such as uncropped internal open-gate recording, professional uncompressed RAW formats, and built-in electronic variable ND filters, they risk making the upcoming A7S Mark IV completely irrelevant to the hybrid imaging community. Conversely, if they artificially cripple the FX3 Mark II's firmware to protect the sales of their higher-tier FX6 or hybrid alpha bodies, they will fail to stop the migration of users toward the Canon EOS C50 and the Nikon Z8. Sony's engineering teams are caught in a classic innovator's dilemma, meticulously calculating how to balance internal competition while launching an aggressive counteroffensive against their rivals. To fully dissect the depth of this unfolding situation, one must look at how the underlying sensor technology has forced Sony's hand. For the past several years, the baseline standard for full-frame cinema capture has hovered around standard BSI sensor structures. The transition in 2026 demands a shift towards stacked sensor design to achieve the immense data bandwidth required for AI-assisted workflows and advanced subsampling math. When a sensor can offload an image area at a sub-millisecond layer, the mathematical concept of a rolling shutter ceases to be a hindrance on set.